Good morning. Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you.
I couldn't hear you. I had my computer on mute
Oh
here.
yeah, I was muted because even getting Parker to go for a walk, things that he enjoys, he's just whole thing.
I hear you. I would love to bring us in with a little bit of numerology today, before we do a little, yeah, let's just get into numerology. We'll start there. Today is a 17 day. Here is our card for, I'm going to highlight me. Hold please. There we go. Here we go. This is the card leading our week. This is 17 energy. It's also 8 energy. Saturn is direct. 8s are get fucking going. Okay. If you have been, this is 8 to 17. Oh, I showed you the wrong one. Hold please, guys.
That card had it, the other a wrong.
I appreciate you. Let me show you the card.
Today's the 19th.
Today is the 19th, but it's a 17 day. Hold please. Here we go.
I'm working on my soundboard. Next time for this, I'll have like the Jeopardy theme playing.
That will probably make me go slower. Sagittarius moons out there will probably make me go slower. So here is our card. Here's our card. This is our card for the week. This card is called Time Walker. Wisdom walks silently in those dark spaces between the worlds. Messages arise dreamlike from the shadows, stretching the depths, pulling the roots even deeper. Timeless, these gifts offer themselves to those who seek. In this card, we see many elements that represent both time and timelessness. The sun in total eclipse floats in the cosmos and rises out of the wise elder's head at the same time. Eclipses always create a new perspective when they occur. A yellow rose appears in the center of the eclipsed sun, reflecting the light of day. An eclipsed moon appears in the picture as well, pale in the shadow of the sun. Eclipses historically have been considered portents that the world as we knew it was coming to an end. At the bottom of the picture is Stonehenge at night, one of the sacred planetary sites where time was measured and celebrated by the ancients. An owl, a night bird that is also a symbol of wisdom, overlooks the sacred terrain. In the center, we see a small figure walking through an enormous cave that is both dark and light. The wise elder overlooks the passage of time and is unaffected by the changes it brings. Time Walker asks you to look at things differently and open to new perspectives. This card suggests that it's time to change your perspective about an issue or issues that you feel trapped by. The messengers may come in the form of natural forces, or they may be delivered by situations that are outside the scope of your normal experiences. Be open and let your wisdom have its voice in your process. Choice. The only real choice is you or not you. What does that mean? Be quiet and listen for the messages that lead you to yourself. That is what we are going to sit with for a moment. We are going to tap in with some just regular breathing, wherever it is, wherever you are. I want to encourage you to kind of drop in to your body as we begin to breathe and let this question resonate without needing an answer to come up. Tune into the subtle sensations in your body. If you are having a hard time dropping into your body, I want to encourage you to feel, check in at different joints. Maybe you want to start with your shoulder and you want to go like this and you want to feel your joint moving. You want to feel the movement. You can check in and you can drop in by physically connecting to different parts of your body. right? So as we begin to drop in, the question that we are considering, the statement that we are considering is, the only real choice is you or not you. What does that mean? And take a moment. I'm going to settle in. You can settle in. And we can begin opening ourselves up to this statement. Before you try to settle your breath, before you try to already be calm and meditative, I want to remind you that being calm is not a requirement for meditation. You can move, movement is meditation. You can walk, walking is meditation. You can sit and cry, crying is meditation. Whatever comes up, whatever you need to do, that is the right thing to do. Meditation is not just one thing. And if that is something that you personally believe, I would encourage you to divest from that belief so you can open yourself up to a meditative practice that is unique and right for you. So for me, I'm gonna take a big old deep breath and I'm gonna just let it out. Maybe a few of those, and then I will cue us to start studying our breath. As you begin settling your breath, settling into your space in whatever way that means for you, I want to remind you that we do not ask questions to have answers. We ask questions to open doors. Begin focusing on your breath, observing your breath exactly as it is right now. With no force and no effort. This is your breath. Focus your attention now on your nostrils, on the very point where the air is exiting and entering your nose. Beginning at your feet, say to yourself, the only real choice is me or not me. Notice any sensations that come up in your feet. If at any time you need to do something during this, please do it. Bring your attention now up your legs, up your shins, to your knees, and tune in and say to your knees, the only real choice is me or not me. Moving your attention up both of your thighs, to your hips, to your sacrum. Say to your hips and your sacrum, the only real choice is me or not me. Bring your attention up your hips, your stomach, right above your belly button. And say to your stomach, the only real choice is me or not me. Move your attention, your abs, past your sternum, to your heart beating. And say to your heart, the only real choice is me or not me. Move your attention to your shoulders and say to your shoulders, the only real choice is me or not me. Bring your attention to your throat and say to your throat, the only real choice is me or not me. Bring your attention now to the point between your eyebrows. And say to your intuition, the only real choice is me or not me. Finally, bring your attention to the top of your head, your antenna, and say to yourself, the only real choice is me or not me. With your breath all the way up the top of your head, remember to send it all the way down to your feet. Reminding every drop of blood in your body, the only real choice is me or not me. Current of you is open in your body from your feet to the top of your head. Be sure to note any sensations you had come up and ask more questions. Bring awareness back to your feet, your hands. Roll your neck if that would feel good. Stretch. Feel free to drop anything in the chat that came up that you might want to share with the group. Receive support with from the group. You experienced tension at any of the points. Oh, thank you, Kelsey. I appreciate that. I appreciate that my meditations that I bring here are appreciated. Thank you. But if you experienced feelings of, I'm going to give just a blanket term, chaos, right? Chaos is pretty much anything that's not peace, right? And not that we're made to feel peace all the time, but if you felt chaos, there's a chance that there's a lot of not you living in the place that you felt the chaos, the tension, the unrest, whatever it might be. And I want to be clear, that does not mean that you are all of a sudden, or not all of a sudden, you are someone who prioritizes everyone else's ways of being and everyone else's wants, unless maybe you do. But you and not you is the difference between you, everything you know, everything your ego has done, and everything it already has experienced, or claiming more. Not you is anything you haven't done yet, anything you haven't claimed yet, anything you haven't acknowledged yet. This is what Jung means when he says to make the unconscious conscious. Lest it rule your life, and you call it fate. You call it the shit that always happens to you. You call it the shit that you always do, the patterns you won't break. Blah, blah, blah. So today, when I pull the cards, I am going to do this a little bit differently than we have done. Maybe not. For some of you, your sexuality is deeply wrapped up in this work. Your sacrum probably had a heavy response. Mine did. I recently had craniosacral therapy for the first time. I had no idea what to expect, and it shifted a lot of stuff for me in ways that like I said, I didn't know what to expect. I suppose I expected some kind of like, I'm gonna go and then there's gonna be an after. And anything that I could have thought of was like, oh, this is probably what's going to happen, like, has not been it. I have found more truth, more creativity, more boundaries, honestly, boundaries for myself and that in the process. Our sacrum holds so much. I think of it like the record keeper in our body. It is more than anything the part of us that we want so badly to connect into. And often disconnect from first or easiest. It's our creativity, right? It's our sexuality. It's all of the things that are commodifiable and sold in our everyday lives. So of course it's easy to turn off our connection to them, to for some people, maybe what was coming up was genuinely making decisions, having ways of being that are revolved around other people, priorities or values or beliefs or actions you take or don't take that are revolved around other people. And if that is you, I really want to encourage you to understand that doing it someone else's way is the long way. It's not the wrong way. And you can take the long way if that's what you need. There's no shame, there's no judgment for taking the long way, for wanting the scenic route to do this work, because we got a long stay here. And I was just looking at, I have 5 of Cups out here, and then I cut to 5 of Cups in this deck. We talked about 5 of Cups in our house, and I'm glad that it's come up here. I intentionally pulled it out so that we could talk about the concept of having as evidence of wanting, and these stupid fucking 5 cups, right? Now, the premise, having as evidence of wanting, is presented in Existential Kink by Dr. Carolyn Elliott. This is pivotal to my work, my way of being, my way of experiencing life. It is a book that became an undercurrent to my world very quickly. I was already right at the edge of climax to believe this concept right before this book came into my life. And the premise of having as evidence of wanting is something that's deeply relevant here, because what if I have all of that chaos in my body? What if I have all of other people's perspectives? What if I have all of these unclaimed things in my body? And I'd really, really love to turn my back to the things that I'm doing well. I'd love to turn my back to the things that are good, the things that are upright, because I'm used to focusing on the things that are going poorly, the things that I have that I don't want, right? And I'm focused on I don't want. But knowing what you don't want is a great place to start and a terrible place to stop. Full stop. If I say just not that, anything else that exists outside of not that, I am now opening myself up to that, right? And the universe is going to go, okay, not that, but basically the same, right? Okay, cool, got it. You're welcome. You said not that, gave you something different. And then we're like, oh, I hate this. This is the same shit that I always have. I said not that, right? And the universe is like, right, you said not that. So I gave you not that. Same, but different, right? Because you're same still, right? So having as evidence of wanting and 5 of Cups are deeply connected. When we have a past of, I don't know anyone whomst amongst us does not have trauma, capital T or lowercase, sitting in the chat right now, because I'm gonna guess there is not anyone that does not, okay? If you are an adult human who made it out of the last 30 years without trauma, please come see me. I want to know you. I got questions. However, on the off chance that you, like the rest of us, have experienced trauma, it is often easier to focus on those patterns for those of us who like to analyze our way through things and to really understand my trauma, right? I like to spend a lot of time looking at those 3 cups that are laid over on the ground. And I focus a lot of that energy on don't want, or didn't want, right? So then I get to the next future moment and I'm looking back at this moment that I'm not in and going, okay, well, not that. And it's like, am I ever going to be where my fucking feet are? Right? Am I ever going to be there? Five of Cups is a reminder that perspective is your responsibility. You have a responsibility to determine your perspective. You have a responsibility to maybe look at both. Maybe it's not I'm going to ignore the 3 downed cups, but maybe it's just, I'm going to add something new into my peripheral. I'm going to give myself something new to pay attention to. Have a yellow car, see a yellow car, right? For a lot of us, we grew up feeling unsafe. That means it is in your best interest to call out your safety whenever you notice it. It's that simple. It's in your best interest to call out your safety to yourself whenever you notice it, right? And safety is maybe not always a big shining moment, right? It's not some big glorious moment of I feel safe. It's not some big sexual experience of I felt so safe in that. That's all. I'm looking back at it, right? I'm looking back at that. It's a being in the moment, right? I'm here. It's safe to be here. Could I stay here for 1 more minute? Do I have the capacity to stay in this safety for 1 more minute without rejecting it, tossing it away, shoving it away from me? And degree by degree, you increase your capacity for those 2 upright cups simply by taking responsibility for your perspective, right? I've been talking a lot about the 6 of Swords recently also, both in our house and with clients. 6 of Swords, I will never forget the meme that I saw that has this card like implanted in my brain, which had like the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith 6 of Swords, where you've got like 2 people in the boat. You've got, it's supposed to be your like present self and your inner child self. 6s are about making decisions, taking action, moving on. But 6 of Swords is a reminder that sometimes when we move on, we fill up the boat with the same shit that we thought we were moving away from, right? So this meme was like, row, row, row your boat away from the bullshit, right? If any of you are Golden Girls girlies, my favorite deck that I have is for 6 of Swords is my Golden Girls deck that has Mount Stanley in the background with Dorothy rowing her boat away from Stanley in the background because he's obviously the worst. If you don't get that reference, please, please, please find your nearest elderly person and sit down and enjoy some Golden Girls. It's very wholesome. So we have this responsibility for perspective that comes up with 5 of Cups. And then we have this responsibility to bail out our own fucking boat and go, hey, wait, why did I pack this? Why do I continue packing this? It's like when you move from house to house and like you're just emptying the junk drawer into a box so that you can then empty that junk drawer box into the next junk drawer that's going to be assigned in the house, right? And we need to go through this proverbial junk drawer. We are still in our 6-week period of grief, denial, anger, bargaining. Like we've got all of these things that we're moving through, and we're getting to a point where acceptance is on the horizon, right? We have been literally moving toward acceptance. Especially this eclipse season, and I fucking love that this, the numerology for today talked about the eclipses, because I was like, I have this deck. I can't stand the creator of this deck, like even a little bit. This is one of my favorite learning decks. It's Celestial Bodies, Astrology and Numerology, Oracle deck, and guidebook. And it gives breakdowns. If you are someone who really wants to get a little like Charlie Day meme with it, where you're like, you got all the red thread out and you're really trying to figure stuff out, this is a really good educational resource. I have yet to find like a good reading with it, but I was looking at this deck this morning thinking about the eclipses. And this eclipse portal that we've had of Aries and Libra, Aries being I am or I, and Libra being the other. Who am I when I am with the other, right? And our kind of mantra for today, if you will, our meditation for today, if you will, was the only real choice is you or not you. What if there is a secret third option? Me and all the things I don't already know. me and all of the people I haven't already been. That is what this eclipse cycle is about, is going, these two things aren't in opposition to one another. They inform one another. And when I bring them here and I go, this is who I am when I'm around this person, or this is who I am when I'm having to show up around other people, and this is who I am when I'm alone, and I wonder why these two things are in such opposition to one another, or these are the things I desire when I'm alone, but when I show up with other people, I don't act that way, or these are the things I desire when I'm alone, and I don't show up even for my fucking self in that. Right? There's a responsibility to do these things in a way that does not result in more self-shame, more self-judgment. Right? I wish I could wave like a magic wand and remove self-shame, remove self-judgment, but until you can admit that you're a little kinky and probably like a little bit of shame and a little bit of guilt to motivate you, you'll probably keep going to that source for motivation. A while ago, this was like 2 years ago, Ryan was at work at the fire station, so I'm by myself, and it's getting late. Okay. And I, in my I am alone and no one is here to observe me energy, I've done nothing as far as like house stuff that I intended to do all day. I couldn't even tell you what I did. But it's getting close to the end of the night. I'm like, okay, so Ryan's going to be home in the morning. Should probably do the dishes, right? Very concerned about how I'm going to look and what someone else is going to think if I don't do X, Y, and Z, whatever, right? And I'm standing over the sink and I just start singing to myself. There's no like tune to it. I'm just repeating a phrase in a sing-songy voice that's like, you don't have to self-motivate with guilt. You don't have to self-motivate with guilt. And I'm just going over and over like, oh, holy shit, I've been self-motivating with guilt, right? And it's like, I definitely am not going to have a deep well of inspiration to do the dishes ever, but at the very least, I don't have to motivate myself with guilt. And I learned that I didn't have to motivate myself with high sensation. Those are the two things that we have really been working on in our house, is I don't have to wait until the sensation is so fucking high that I have no choice but to act, right? I know so many people, especially if you are like neurodivergent in any way, it's like the priority level on this is not high enough for me to act yet, right? Like I'm not, the sensation isn't high enough, right? I think a really easy example for this is think about your laundry room right now, or your pile of laundry or fucking whatever, right? We got back from vacation, and then it was like cold weather here. So then we had to go to the storage unit and get like cold weather clothes and all of that. And it was like all of a sudden we had 16 loads of laundry in the house. And I was like, it's not big enough yet. It's not big enough yet because it's already too big. So now I have to wait until it's catastrophic before I'm going to address it. Right. And turns out that doesn't work. Having a little bit of sensation, something we've really, really, really keyed into over the last couple of weeks, is buying into our own structure, buying into our own routine, right? That helps. When I have structure and routine, it is a lot easier for me to course correct my perspective. Let me go ahead and say that again. When I put as much in my life as possible on easy mode, it is significantly easier for me to course correct my attitude, my perspective, the direction I'm going, even my willingness to listen to my intuition, listen to myself, whatever. When I hold myself accountable to buying into my own routine. Some of you, oh no, I didn't talk to anyone that's on this call right now. I have been really, really nerding out about the Chinese body clock. Okay. If any of you are looking for a routine that you don't invent for yourself, the Chinese body clock has existed for millennia, and your body's probably already most likely on it. And it is something, oh, Katie, I think we talked about this, but it is something that when we began participating in it, there was a notable shift in my stress levels, cortisol production, my skin, my sleep, my digestion. Thank you. like literally this morning, because I've been looking at it very scientifically and very suggestively. So I'm gonna pull up a little window real quick and show y'all the Chinese body clock. This is my current special interest, so thank you for coming with me on this journey. Ooh, this is a great link. I'm dropping this link in the Discord right now. It breaks down all of the different times. I need this picture though. Will you just text me that picture?
Yeah.
It'll come up on here. I'm going to drop that link in the Discord. So our Chinese body clock goes in 2-hour increments. So when I say I have been using it as, thank you, I have been using it as a suggestion. What I mean is, for example, it says awake time between 5 and 7 a.m. I tend to wake up at 5 a.m. That's when I've been waking up, literally on the button, 5 or 5:05. If any of you were in the group chat, I had a dream that Maggie told me the 5 rules for being a Scorpio. Maggie, you were not in my dream again last night, but I got another rule. Actually, I think I got the other 3 rules, but I woke up in the middle of the night and didn't remember 2 of them. Like I was like scripting them to myself while I went pee, and I was like, I'm for sure going to remember this. And then I didn't. But I have really been keyed into these 5s. Oh, we got the clock here.
That's great. I was going to ask you if you had gotten any more rules.
Yes, I did. I got. All right. Can y'all see that? Yeah. All right. So basically every element has 2 organs, right? Each organ is primarily responsible for certain emotional and physical function in your body. For example, if you're waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., you are experiencing something with your lungs. So maybe you're going through grief consistently. Maybe you've had an upper respiratory infection. When we had the plague, I was waking up at 3:30 on the freaking button. These kinds of things. So the lung has a secondary organ. It's the large intestine. So when you wake up at between 5 a.m. and 7, you're waking up, releasing your bowels and meditating. Oh my God, now I don't have to think about where the fuck I'm going to meditate. Okay, so if I'm doing all of this before 7 a.m., then I get to 7 and it's like, oh yeah, hey, you're going to eat breakfast, have good concentration. You'll probably need to take a walk by like 9 o'clock, right? Breakfast around 7, taking a little walkie walk by 9, having my morning work when I have good concentration in the beginning of my day, right? Between 9 and 11, and I go through my day like this, where it's like, oh, I need to make sure that I eat breakfast by 9. I need to make sure that I eat lunch by 1. I need to make sure I eat dinner by 7. That was the main priority for me, was making sure that I was eating my meals by those times, because daylight saving time got me fucked up. I was out here like, I don't know what time to eat. I don't know what time of day it is, right? So I'm just going to eat and get keyed back into my routine. So this has been super helpful.
Super keyed up.
Yeah.
Super relaxed.
Yeah.
That's something else we talked about, was daylight savings time and how it's basically a social experiment. But anyways.
Yes, we are being social experimented on, and it is a failure.
Yeah.
I personally will
So I
say.
I saw something in the spring when we were supposed to go forward an hour. Heart attacks go up in the entire country. Same thing. When we go down, everybody gets relaxed. So heart attacks and things like that go down. And every year it's the same thing. And like the government literally tracks that and just to see what daylight savings does to us.
Because we're stock. We're not
Yeah.
people.
But
We are
anyway.
stock, paying the bills for this whole country. That's a rant for another time, folks. Probably do a podcast on that one. But this has been super helpful for me, because I am a fly by the seat of my pants person a lot of times. However, I recently realized I don't like making last minute decisions. I actually fucking hate making last minute decisions. And do you know how surprising that was to my ADHD? I don't like making last minute impulsive decisions. Doesn't feel good. Yeah, because I don't fucking check in with myself when I do it. Right? So again, I have this responsibility to my perspective. So I am about to pull cards on perspective. I'm going to do a this or that style reading. Oh, I'm going to stop the share here. Stop the share. I'm going to do a this or that style reading. We are going to look at me and not me. Right? So I'm going to get ready to pull some cards. Feel free to settle in. I'm going to take some grounding breaths together and just a second. Find some tarot reading room over here. All right. We've got 5 little cups up here for our little significator. Card to represent us when we feel like ourselves. Us when we are not self. Let's go with that language. Self and not self. Me, not me. How I act. How I often feel. How I didn't know I was feeling. Let's look at our not self. When we have night self, we have sacred sexuality. Maybe you experience hypersexuality. Maybe you don't check in with your physical body, whether or not it feels ready, right, capable of the sexual experiences that you're engaging in. Maybe you're over-reliant on your creative energy, and your creative energy is fucking exhausted by your reliance on feeling creative in order to do something. We also have the void. So maybe you feel as if you're in a dark, dark void when you are not yourself. When you are not yourself, maybe you feel as if your sexuality is in a void. You can't connect to your sexual relationship with yourself, with other people. You can't connect into that place within yourself. Maybe you turn off parts of your body. That's very, very, very common for people who have vaginas, to turn off parts of their body when they have different experiences that are way too much sensation, way too fast, and things like that. If you are interested in that, please send me a DM and I'm going to share an account with you that I recently went down a rabbit hole on. I am not vouching for them as a person. I do, however, like their information and their content thus far. Again, not self, disconnection from intuition. We have High Priestess reversed. Disconnection from intuition. And I'm going to tell you that is the most insidious thing of all, to believe that you are disconnected from your intuition. There is no more insidious belief than believing that you are disconnected from your intuition, because anything can help you reconnect to your intuition at that point. I strongly recommend separating yourself from the belief that you can ever be disconnected from your intuition, from any of your energetic storehouses in your body, from any part of your body. We don't disconnect from them, right? We turn the volume down, we turn the volume up way too high, or we kind of Goldilocks that, right? But there is no disconnection. You cannot be disconnected from something that is innately yours. Additionally, we also have some avoidance when you are in not self. You're extra sleepy, sleepy girl hours, avoidance girl hours. avoiding responsibilities, a lack of action. If you are someone who has really been struggling in the Saturn retrograde, Time Walker and Saturn, Daddy Saturn are here to let you know that it's direct, and avoidance is not a strategy that's going to get you somewhere you haven't been, right? So that is who cards to represent who we are when we are in not self, how we act. Six of Cups reversed. We are oriented to the past. We are oriented to the past. We are under the spell of nostalgia. Things are always going to be the same because they've always been like that. Or we are over romanticizing things that were obviously fucking toxic. We are maybe wrapped up in the idea that the way our parents did it was fucking right, and you're defaulting to someone else's perspective, right? We have Six of Cups reversed, and I really love this card. If you look at it in the upright, you can see two little kids playing here, right? And they're filling these cups with flowers, and it's a very sweet moment. Six of Cups is a very sweet card. Six of Cups is typically depicted with an adult and a younger person. Why? Because it represents your adult self caring for and being the keeper of and the creator of containers for your inner child, right? Six of Cups in reverse, though, is the spell of nostalgia, the rose-colored lens of it all. And did you know that some of us can rose-colored lens shit into the worst fucking perspective ever, because that is, in fact, our cheerier, rosier perspective? Have you ever met anyone, or maybe you're a person who really enjoys complaining? That's the rose-colored lens, I mean, right? So that is how we act. How do we often feel? Like we want to break free. Literally, I started singing I Want to Break Free in my head as soon as I flipped this. We have the Weaver. You often feel like you really want to take this into your own hands, but oh my God, that's just so much more responsibility to put on my back. Right? The responsibility of freeing myself. I've got to add that to my list of burdens, along with keeping up everyone else's perspectives of me and doing the way everyone else has done it. It's just too much to free myself from this. The burden's too big. I've committed for too long. The time I have invested has been too long. I've always done it like this. Again, there is so much self-victimization when we are in the not self theme, when we are operating as not ourselves. And you genuinely do have a not self theme, human design. If you want to get into your not self theme, if you're a projector, it's resentment. And I don't know about you, but there are lots of things I resent that I do all the time. And like beginning to draw that connection to my resentment and my frustration that I've had to do this forever. Like I think cooking dinner is the best example. If you were not raised a feral child who had to learn how to make bulk meals for yourself and provide for your family, fine, but I was. And now it's to the point that I'm like, I have to decide what to have for dinner for every night for the rest of my life. And I've already been doing it for like 27 out of the 32 years I've existed. And like, y'all, it's tiring, right? And then I remember I get to fucking choose what I'm eating, and I'm not eating gross little bar-ass hot dogs out of the fridge, and I'm not eating like Jose Ole frozen taquitos and like shit like that. Like I'm not eating fried chicken out of the freezer, and I'm not eating, you know, spaghetti that we're making in bulk to last for the week and stuff like that. Like I get to choose that. And I don't have to choose it. The realization that I hit this week was like, I don't have to choose something different every day. I'm allowed to just put things like on an automated process that I chose, rather than an automatic process, the subconscious process I didn't choose, right? So to keep it real fucking simple this week, I was like, hey, let's pick one breakfast and we're going to have that for breakfast all week. Let's pick 2 lunches and kind of alternate through those lunches. Let's pick like 3 dinners and really just like stick with those dinners, right? And that began even in the last week, began like really gently and easily unraveling some codependent behaviors that we had around these things. It was like, we have to eat at the same time. We have to be eating the same things. We've got to be doing the same things. And I'm like, half the time I wouldn't go to a restaurant and order the same meal. So like, maybe we want to like mix it up and like make some things and just kind of work off of that. So we really got to experiment this week. And do you know why it was easy to experiment? Already had a plan. Already had a schedule, and I didn't have to make up the schedule for myself. China's body clock did it for me, right? If I woke up between 5 and 7, hit those 3 points, I'm good to go. Between 7 and 9, I hit the next 3 points, right? This way of being has opened up my energetic capacity to experiment in other areas. That is what I mean. That is where we take responsibility for our perspective. It's not taking responsibility. I had a chip on my fucking shoulder as a kid. And like, honestly, as an adult, I don't want to fucking take responsibility for anyone else. I've been taking responsibility for fucking everything in my life forever, right? But taking responsibility and recreating a relationship with responsibility, where I say, I'm responsible to me. I'm responsible to my priorities, and I'm responsible to my values, and I'm responsible to my boundaries, right? Those are the things that make me feel like myself, that make me feel loving and open and available for people and available for myself. I can show up more like myself, more in alignment with my values like that. And feeling like a victim is not on my values list. But acknowledging that I have been hurt, I have been a victim, is where I meet that part of me with compassion, right? Because that's the part of me that comes up when I'm in this 10 of wands, everything's on my back and I'm the only one that can do it and blah, 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 the stories that we tell ourselves, right? When I'm in that moment, I remind myself I'm not in the moment that I was when I was a kid, being too responsible for things, overly responsible for things, for people's feelings, for people's experiences, right? And then as quickly as I can, I give myself permission to drop it. I give myself permission to drop what I thought, even when it's scary, to drop someone else's perspective or someone else's desire. And again, like yesterday, we had some stuff come up, and it was like taking a minute yesterday meant taking 2 hours, right? That was what I needed to take a minute, right? To get myself back to capacity to be able to do all of those things, right? Some days it'd be like that. And some days it's going to be 20 minutes. Some days it's going to be 5 minutes. Some days you're going to go outside, you're going to stand there, take a deep breath, and you're good to go, right? But whatever it is, you have to be willing to show up for the time you need to bring yourself back to the emotional capacity to meet the moment that you're in and free up your energy so that you can choose your perspective.
Something I've been doing for like taking a minute, because you said one of the rules for being a Scorpio was something about add more water, right? Add more water.
Stay soupy.
Stay soupy.
Yeah.
So I took that to mean add more water. So
Yep.
like I'm like, instead of like taking a breath,
I said
obviously,
always keep it watery.
yeah, I like take a breath. Like obviously, take a breath, take a minute, deep, breathe, right? But like I've done that as well with water. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take a drink of water.
Yeah.
Just like take a couple sips of water, wait a second, like let that sink in. So that's what I've been doing.
The postcards from the liminal space card with the cup, and then she's got her finger stirring the water in it. Like that's what I'm seeing in my head. It says hydrate, bitch. Like that's just like, that's it. Like sometimes you just need to add some water. Sometimes you like, it sounds maybe too simple, and you are not going to be able to do this all the time correctly right away.
Wouldn't it be great if things were fucking simple though?
Yes, it would. It's not that it's complex. It's
Right.
that it becomes complex when you have an expectation of perfection for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So when you can stop and take a minute, even if it's just, oh, I got 30 more seconds of a minute out before I reacted. I got 2 more minutes out before I reacted, right? Being able to stay in your capacity for longer, right? Your capacity to act and react in alignment with your values, to communicate and maintain relationships in alignment with your values, to uphold your integrity with yourself in alignment with your values. All of those things are what's on the line between that minute and not taking it, right? Feeling like yourself, feeling good about how you show up to disagreement or conflict, feeling good about how you show up to your day to day. So let's look at some things that we'll be able to notice, look, see, feel, hear, and experience when we do feel like ourselves. We have the pillar. We have right-sizing our responsibilities. Right-sizing our responsibilities. A lot of us, if you are someone who likes to give a lot, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm up here And then this person that I'm giving so much to is down there, and they're the reason that this pillar is crooked. No. We have to right size what we give people. We have to right size what we give people. So when you feel like yourself, you feel like you're able to right size what you give people. You feel like, I love this, Queen of Wands reversed. You feel like you are able to discern between the moths that just want to be around your little fucking flame, people that just want a piece of your energy, your time, your attention, your ideas, and people that want to warm themselves alongside you. People that you want sitting around that fire with you, right? So Queen of Wands, I always, like when I teach this card, when I read for this card, I always tell people my discernment is daddy phrase, right? Queen of Wands is a reminder that discernment is what's going to be the difference between knowing who are people in your life, things in your life, patterns, behaviors, habits in your life that are moths distracting you, and what's actually for you, what's actually nourishing for you. We also have the Hierophant reversed, suggesting that when you feel like yourself, you're not doing it anyone else's way. This is a neo-traditional way, right? Well, what's more neo-traditional than doing it your own fucking way, right? We have this idea that when we are feeling like ourselves, we are able to cut through the spiritual bullshit to see what teaching is for me, what path is for me, what is my, current mission. You are able to exercise more clarity and more trust of your own voice too. The Hierophant is deeply connected to our throat, right? Because this is Taurus's card. Your communication feels and sounds like you, but it's not a you you've ever known. Isn't that curious? That's when you found authenticity. We also have the Seeker. There is significantly less judgment, significantly more curiosity. Look at these teeth falling into these hands. This is wisdom that we're seeking, right? And we are significantly more open to receiving that wisdom and doing something with what we've taken in when we feel like ourselves. So how do we act when we feel like ourselves? We're not unsure or contemplative about how we want to spend our time, our energy, our emotional labor, our love, or our money. We know exactly how we want to spend our time. We know exactly how we want to spend our energy. We know exactly how we want to spend our money. We also know exactly what energy we want to receive, what time we'd like to receive from other people or other things, what money we'd like to receive from other people and other things, what our money is going to do for us, right? So we act like we know what we're fucking doing, because usually we do when we're operating as ourselves. And a way we might feel very curious. The question that goes with this card is, what if everything goes better than expected? And also, what tools do I have at my disposal already that could help me get there? There's a supreme feeling of self-trust that is experienced within us when we feel like ourselves. We also have Three of Pentacles reversed, suggesting that we feel a little less desirous of sharing our energy with other people, right? We're a little more choosy, a little more selective about who and what receive our energy, receive our time, receive our money, receive our love. This can be highly, highly, highly practical. When you feel like yourself, you're not eating, ingesting things that don't feel like you, and you're curious when things make you feel bad. Right? That would be a highly practical way to look at this in your everyday life. If your area of focus right now, my digestion isn't great, and I'm pretty sure my digestion is telling me that I've got other emotional problems going on with grief. Ding, you're right there. When you work on your digestion, you're going to work on your grief, right? Being able to bring these down to earth, to make these practical, when you're feeling like you're not yourself, you are struggling with your sexuality or your sacred sexual expression, right? Not all creative energy, not all sex energy turns to sex. Some sex energy turns to creation energy, right? So When you don't feel like yourself, you don't know how to spend your sex energy or your creative energy. You feel like time, people, endeavors, your emotions are like an endless void. You feel disconnected from your intuition, and you are probably sleeping a lot. At that point, when you're feeling like you're not self, you are most likely ruminating on things that have happened in the past and probably scheming ways to prevent it from happening in the future, while also not being where your feet are. And you most often feel as if you really want to break free, you really want to get rid of all of these things that are holding you back. The burden is just too big. But when you feel like yourself, when you tune into yourself, when you find that balance for you, you're able to right size your relationships. You're able to remove other people. The Hierophant is the teller of stories, and you're able to remove other people from the stories you're telling yourself. My fucking God, I cannot tell you how big that one has been. Like again, like all things, it's like you don't do it perfectly, but we have to keep returning to it's not personal. This person's feelings, this person's experience, this person's moment, my feelings, my experiences, it's not personal. If it has to mean something about him, if I'm having a hard time, or if it has to mean something about me when he's having a hard time, we get lost in the sauce and we start trying to fix problems that really don't even exist, because all we're doing is staying up here. But if you can stop the story, drop into your body, right? Just like I said at the beginning of the meditation, if you don't know how to drop into your body, and I have sat with plenty of people in sessions that cannot drop into their body, start with your joints. You move. I'm moving right now, right? I can stop for a minute and go, what does my left shoulder feel like? What does my left elbow feel like? And I can move through my body, intentionally putting myself into my body, because maybe dropping into my body does not feel safe yet. I can start small and I can put myself somewhere intentionally. That's the work that we are doing. This is the responsibility we exact for our perspective. We say, this is where I want to be, so I'm going to question what's preventing me from being there. How am I preventing myself from getting there, right? And if it is other people are preventing me from getting where I'm trying to go, then I should probably start asking myself why those people are in my life, why I like having them in my life. Maybe what I really need to do is have a conversation with myself and say, you know what, I don't really want the thing I thought I wanted. I really want this instead. And just fucking let it go. Stop the conflicted self. If you follow I Am Natalie Miles, at 5 p.m. she's having a like group session, and I think it's like $22 to drop in. And I want to say it's at 5 p.m. and it is for letting go of like the energetics of, and a ritual for letting go of the conflicting beliefs you're holding in yourself, right? The conflicted, I want to do and I'm not doing. The conflicted, I like this, but I'm resistant to it. I want this, but I won't do it. Like whatever it is that you're feeling conflicted about, if this is something that has especially resonated for you, I really, really like her work as a psychic medium. She is a really special channeler, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to dropping into that session. I've never dropped into a session of hers before, so I have no idea what to expect. So if you're going to be there, that's great. Send me a message. We'll be sure to debrief together afterward. However, that is what I have for today. Oh, I want to look at our themes. Our themes, we have soul work. Soul work. This is your soul's work. Oh, fuck.
Nice.
6 of Swords. Reversed. Bail out the boat. Literally like a kid.
11-11.
I'm imagining like a cartoon or like a show from the 90s where they have a kid and they're shaking out the coins. That's how I imagine the 6 of Swords. Like you just toppled the boat over upside down. Your soul work is to topple that 6 of Swords boat over upside down, bail out the boat as you go as quickly as possible without capsizing yourself. Okay. When we disrupt things, when we disrupt the balance of things, when we're bailing out these swords from our boat, when we're bailing these out, it is in our best interest to look where we're going, not where we've been. And that is all. That is all for today. Not self is frustration. Yes, manifesting generator, not self is frustration. You can get into like exploring your not self. It was really hard for me for a long time to feel the physical sensations of resentment, because I had to do the harder work of feeling the sensations of desire first, because desire precedes resentment. And admitting to myself that I experienced desire or had desires for things was something that I resisted for a really long time. It felt really uncomfortable. Wanting things that I didn't already have felt really uncomfortable, and like I was selfish or ungrateful for things that I had, and all kinds of other childhood bullshit, right? All of the wanting that I had backlogged forever came just like pouring out. So when you start digging into your not self theme, I really want to encourage you to listen and connect into your body to find where that physically expresses itself. Resentment has a physical expression in my body. Frustration for you as a manifesting generator probably has a physical sensation in your body. When I'm frustrated, it feels like bees are going to come out of my belly personally. Yeah, chest and throat. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, I just want to get it out. So yeah, that is what I have for y'all today. And does anyone have anything they want to share or need to say before we head out? No. All right, friends, then I shall see some of y'all Sunday and some of you throughout the week. All right, bye y'all.
Bye.